bondsheets.com. Place for you to find out what businesses are hot, what interest that they're paying, for you to take a look at them. If you're interested in finding out more about them, you can actually call the guy who's selling them instead of having to fill out all this paperwork, and then eventually you might get a call. So these are private bond sales of corporations currently. And today we're going to be talking about a company called Cougar Metropolis. What is it all about? And are you interested in investing in them? Also, we're going to be going over different varieties of bonds. You know, why do you buy bonds? And then we'll also be going over several other different things, time permits. But once again, I'd like to thank you for the show today. We've got a great and exciting couple questions that were asked. So if you happen to be into the bonds, just log on to bondsheets.com. And from there, you're able to just ask us any questions by clicking on the contact button. Or eventually, later on in the show, we're going to be able to have a form on there, and we're going to take all the questions and give you all the answers on the form. So if you got any other questions, what's the difference between a zero bond, convertible bond, and a non-taxable bond? Or what's a municipal bond or corporate bond? Well, we'll go into depth later on in later shows. But if you know anything about bonds, then you're in the right place. So what's bondsheets.com all about? Bond sheets are we're here to advertise a lot of different corporate bonds that were submitted to our site. So bondsheets.com there's two ways to be submitted to our site. You're either a user or corporate bond salesman and trying to advertise different bonds that you like the public to see, and then give you a call and for you to sell them. Or you're a small business right now who's interested in fundraising. So we have 3 companies on our site currently right now, and they were all interested in using us to fundraise for their business. So let's take, for instance, so we have a lot of different corporate bonds. Well, what are corporate bonds? Corporate bonds are issued by the company to raise money, and it's a lot cheaper than going to the bank and getting a credit card. So that's the reason why a lot of people use bonds. And also, if you're a creditor, then you'd be investing in these bonds, and instead of the bank making all the money, you would receive the percentage of the interest. So that's the reason why a lot of people invest in bonds. It's safer than stock, not as sexy, and if a company goes bankrupt, you're usually the top 3 people that get paid back in a Chapter 11 or Chapter 13 bankruptcy court suit. So, but right now we've got companies that are on there. We've investigated with our team, and we felt like they have enough money into their account that shouldn't even be a thought in your mind when you invest in our companies. That here are on bondsheets.com. So what's the difference between a zero coupon bond and a convertible bond? Well, zero coupon bond, they don't pay out regular coupons like most bonds do. So you can buy them at a discount rate, and then once the day of maturity comes, then you can probably sell them off at the price of the coupon, or every once in a while you might receive a little bit more with interest. But that's on a case-by-case basis. Then you got your convertible bonds they're also trying to raise money. But to make a long story short, they might ask you, instead of us paying you back on the day of maturity is we're going to give you stocks in the company at a lower price. So the day that the stock opens up, then you can actually, make a killing on the first day of trade. I see a lot of people do that, and it's been very attractive, especially when Facebook opened up. They were asking for bonds to raise money, and they said, you know what, instead of us paying you back in the bond on the day of maturity, would it be all right if we converted the bonds at the money that we owed you and converted it to stock? Well, a lot of people said yes. And that right there was a huge boom to the convertible bonds market. So what is it about bondsheets.com? Why another, website? Well, bondsheets.com took a look at all these, startup companies, especially the companies that help raise your funds. Well, if you ever done a quick search of how many of those businesses use all that money to get started and fail, well, as an investor, I'll help someone out with $20, but it's like, no, I don't want to see another T-shirt from your company. I would like to see you succeed in your company. And so a lot of people have a lot of great ideas that are out there, but it's just not working out for them. At least with bondsheets.com, you get a financial reason to invest in these companies, and you actually get to help these guys succeed. Now, like Cougar Metropolis had enough money in the bank to invest in their IT infrastructure and to upgrade and start building the mobile apps and buy a larger warehouse for their products. But they would like to use the money for something else. Right now they have enough, so they asked us here at bondsheets.com to see if we can cover the cost and create bonds for them to raise the extra capital, and then in return they can pay the creditors back. So this right here will give them more money to play with, to do what they want to do, and it'll definitely be worth the creditors' reason of investing in them. So I think they're at 12%. So if you call up the Texas corporate bond guys that are holding the bonds, then it'll help you out. What else can we say about them? So we got them at there's 500,000 bonds that are available at $5 a share. So you can call up the Texas company holding, and the tax status is taxable. So the money that you make on the bonds, you'll be taxed on it. But on top of that, it's you'll be helping out a company. You'll be employing a lot more people, and you'll be able to wake up in the morning and knowing that the American economy is still strong and getting stronger by the day for each clothes that they like to sell. People buy clothes all the time, but why just not buy a higher quality product that's made in America at an inexpensive rate? So that's it on bondsheets.com. We'd love to know more about what's going on with your investment, and give us a call anytime. Just contact us by clicking on the contact tab at bondsheets.com. Have a great and awesome day here at bondsheets.com.